Fine Music Breakfast with Annabelle Drumm.
And it's 6 minutes past 8 o'clock here at Fine Music Breakfast. I'm Annabelle Drumm, and I hope you're enjoying the music this morning. Just having a look at the traffic. Sorry, not the traffic. We've done that, haven't we? It's weather time now. It's 7 degrees in Penrith and 10 degrees in Sydney. We're looking for a high of 19 degrees. There will be some foggy patches in the west, some medium chance of showers along the coast and a slight chance of showers everywhere else, and light winds. And tomorrow, very similar temperatures, though it will be a bit chilly in Penrith overnight, 3 degrees, and mostly sunny tomorrow, not so many showers, which is quite nice. Now, in the studio, I have with me this morning an Australian tenor who has been blitzing the world stage in opera and concert halls. He's worked with Richard Bonning, Anna Netrebko in Moscow, and studied with Marilyn Horne in California. He's been playing leading roles for Opera Comique in Paris, Operköln, I think is how we pronounce it in Germany. I'm going to get laughed at about my German accent today, I can see already. And roles in the Netherlands and London, as well as numerous parts for Opera Australia, including Whiteley, that's just been happening. I'd like to welcome Bradley Cooper.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on the air this morning, Annabelle.
Lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for coming along today. Now, this is just wonderful hearing about all these amazing things you've been doing overseas.
Yeah.
Because not all Australians think that they can get out there and do that. So you graduated from the Sydney Conservatorium.
That's right.
And then you headed off overseas. How is it that you managed to spread yourself around so many different places, Europe and America?
Well, I had one thing on my side, which is that I have UK ancestry. So I was very, very lucky in that. Yes, in that regard. And I had some money from various places, including what was then called, I think, the Australian Opera Auditions Committee Dame Joan Sutherland Award.
It's got to be the longest name I've ever heard.
It was hard to sort of, when you only had 300 words for a CV or something and you had to...
And half of them were one award.
Exactly. So I was very grateful for that, and I had some money from some other places, and I just went over and tried my luck and worked for started with a little touring company called Diva Opera, and went all around Europe, and then English touring opera, then English national opera, and then some other places, and then Europe. And
so when you were touring, is that when you picked up all your contacts to go to all those other places?
Yes. Well, I started out exactly by myself, and I was just basically on the phone to anyone that would listen to me, getting those auditions, and it was basically creating your own opportunities. I was fearless.
It's a good word for it.
Yeah, which you had to be. So cold calling. I remember calling numerous times for English touring opera to get my audition, and I think it was like the third or fourth time I called, the girl at the switch goes, "Oh, you're that guy that keeps calling. Let me put you through to Janet."
I'll stop calling you if you just give me an audition.
But that's the kind of thing you do when you're 26 years old. So, you won't take no for an answer.
Well, also you've got a limited time, haven't you? So it's not like if you're sitting in Australia and you live here and you've got, maybe you're with your parents or whatever, and you've got an unlimited amount of time, that there doesn't seem to be a deadline to get these things done. But if you're overseas and you've got a certain amount of time, do you think that's what it was that pushed you?
I think it really does. I mean, for me, my visa was open-ended, but you do kind of think, something needs to happen, in the next 6 to 12 months. Otherwise, what am I doing here? And it does galvanize. You could think, I've come all this way and I'm here. So I'm going to make the most of it and let everyone who will listen know that I'm here and ready to go. So, yes.
So you must have been louder than everybody else, I guess, or always on the phone, like you're saying.
Well, yes, I was always being accused of having a loud voice. Even now in my professional life, I'm often asked to blend by people at work, including Anthony Hunt, if you happen to be in the car listening, yes.
Keep it down, Bradley.
Yes.
That's it.
Blend with your colleagues, please.
And now you also you worked with Marilyn Horne. What was that like, getting lessons from her?
Oh, well, that was another one of these serendipitous occasions. I was working with Diva Opera. We were on a cruise in the Mediterranean, and we were performing concerts on the cruise to the passengers. And she was there doing some, like a crossover concert, because she'd stopped performing opera. And she also gave some of us young singers a masterclass in front of the cruise passengers, a very highbrow sort of classical music cruise. Anyway, after the masterclass, her assistant came over and called me to have dinner with them, her and her pianist and the assistant. And she goes, Brad, I really liked how you sang today. You should come and audition for my summer school in the States. She goes, but you'd have to sing in the audition like you sang at the end of the masterclass, not the beginning. So I cashed in my return flight to Australia and changed it into a return flight to New York. And I did, and it was one of those ones where you go and you do the audition in the morning and then you wait. You come back in the afternoon, you see if your name's been stuck up on
the notice
piece
board
of paper. And then you go away for another few hours, and luckily my name was on the piece of paper. And
it's like in Fame, isn't it?
Yes,
Was it like Fame
like
when you go and look at the notice board to see if you're in?
So, and it was one of these, things where you came back and you sang your second aria, and then you had to sort of wait for a few weeks to find out if you got into the summer school. It's called the Music Academy of the West.
Oh.
And so I got into that. And so that was a 2-month program, and basically you had a few lessons a week with her, and there was people from all the, she had a great team around her, all these coaches from the Med in San Francisco. And she used to teach in this hall. So she'd be about sort of 10, 20 meters away from you. And when she wanted you to stop, she'd bang the table. And I remember her sort of saying, people can't see me, but I remember her saying very early on, she pointed at her head. I had a very, very, I've still got a very bright voice, but I had a very nasal voice back then. And she said, okay, you've got this, pointing at her forehead. You've got this. But you got to have that. And then she pointed at the back of her head.
Oh.
But you got to keep this.
At the front of your head.
But it's got to be here on the chest.
Oh, that's confusing.
So we'll just try it again.
And that was the description, was it?
Yes. She's actually completely right, because she's talking about all the places that the voice needs to be.
So you understood what she was saying at the back of the head?
Yes.
I haven't heard of anyone talking about singing in the back of your head. I know about chests and foreheads, but...
She's talking about sort of like resonating every place that you possibly can. And
so did you find that the work that you did with her made a difference to how you sang?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She was just so inspiring. And it's one of these sort of cases where you work and you become focused because of the person sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
And the wealth of experience that she brings. She has a lot to impart, of course. I mean, I won't go into the full details, but you also really want to work for her and do the best you can. It does focus you
Makes
in
a
this
big
funny
difference,
way.
doesn't it? Yeah.
And when you're there and you're working 6 days a week for 2 months on nothing but your voice. And
you've got to improve.
Well, you hopefully improve, yes.
Yeah, definitely. Now, how did you get your interest in German music and Lieder and cabaret and that kind of thing?
Well,
where did that come from?
The German came at school. I went to the Conservatorium High School, and we had quite a number of music teachers there, but one of them in particular, Brett Johnson, he was really fostering. There was a group of us who were getting into Wagner. We had this little Wagner club. This is very daggy. We used to get together in the school holidays and watch the old Philips VHS from Bayreuth with the vocal scores. And so that
was
and
it a sing-along?
Richard Strauss, yes, sort of, and Mahler. And that's sort of how it all started. When I went overseas,
that's a long time then.
The first place I went to was I went and did some study with a Wagnerian tenor called Rainer Goldberg in Berlin. And I was there for 3 months, and he was really great because he got me to relax my jaw, and he was locker, du musst immer locker sein, loose, you have to be loose. Warum singst du so eng? Why are you singing so narrowly?
So you had to learn you had to really understand the German language.
I didn't really speak very much German at all, and I had to take my dictionary to the lessons with me, because it was way before the days of this Google Translate and everything. We were basically, he spoke no English and I spoke no German, well, very little German. And again, it's one of those galvanizing situations where I can either learn some German or I can not have these lessons with this great tenor who's sung at Bayreuth.
And without a translator, that's tricky, isn't it?
No,
see,
it's
for
just
me,
the two
when
of us.
going overseas and learning dance, it's not so bad because I can see what's
Sure.
going on. But singing, wow, that's very different to get those descriptions.
Yeah, that's why I always say to any young singer who would ever ask me when's the right time to go, I said, there's no right time to go. Just if you want to go and you've got some money behind you and you've got the will, then just go, see what's out there. it will definitely improve you if you go. So
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
Because then you're picking up, especially with the German. So if you're going to see German singers and you're there in the space and
Yeah,
makes
I just
all the
always had a
difference.
bent for it. I don't know why. It just sort of the music. Even as a young singer, I always liked singing lieder more than I enjoyed singing sort of French chanson or anything like that. And then it's just sort of grown over the years.
Well, you've got an
And-
album now too.
Oh, yes, I've got a little album, which I need
Called
to put
Cabaret?
up on Spotify and everything. So, yes,
Or is it the
Cabaret
full
with the K, the German spelling. And a few years ago, I had the opportunity, just out of the blue, to start performing for the Robert Stolz Society, which are based out in Melbourne. Robert Stolz is not very well known outside the German-speaking world, but he's incredibly popular. He wrote over 2,000 songs. He
Wow.
was he lived into his 90s, so he was active from the 30s to the 70s. He had 5 wives, and his 5th and final wife, Einzi, moved to Melbourne and brought the estate with her and set up the Robert Stolz Society. And so that's why it was in Melbourne. And I just, I had the opportunity to sing for them a few years ago, and I've basically performed for them now every year or twice a year since then, since 2014. And as a result of that, I went to Graz, which is the hometown of Robert Stolz. Every year they have a folk music festival there, which is just, I went there for the weekend. It's basically thousands and thousands of people in Trachten. This is this traditional dress and folk music. And they basically close the whole of Graz down. And everyone just is making music in the streets, and there's concerts on, and it's amazing. It's called Aufsteigen, the Steiermark being the state that Graz is the capital of. And I was just so overwhelmed with this. And as a result, I've added some of this music to the concerts that I do.
That sounds
with a
great.
mixture of the operetta, these what's called Wiener Lieder, Vienna songs, which is what Robert Stolz was also so famous for.
Well, let's have a listen to a couple of the pieces,
Yes.
a couple of the songs.
So this first song, Ob blond, ob braun, ich liebe alle Frauen, that means whether they're blonde or brunette, I love all women. This song was first sung by a Polish tenor called Jan Kipura, and it was written with him in mind.
And the second song?
Oh, and the second song we're going to listen to is a little bit of the beautiful composer Erich Korngold. And that song is called Mond, so gehst du wieder auf.
Okay, here we go.
Ein Ideal hat jede Frau, jeder Mann. Und jeder Mann hat seinen Liebesroman. Aber ich habe 10 bis 12 und...
And we're listening to the tenor, Bradley Cooper, who's here in the studio with me. He was performing there. That was a live performance with Michael Curtin. There's such a wide range, isn't it, of different styles of music. Is that what your new cabaret program is going to be about as well?
Yes. So this program, A Night in Vienna, it has a little bit of sort of the cabaret style of things with a song, especially with a song called Mein kleiner grüner Kaktus, My Little Green Cactus. You haven't lived until you've been in Munich, New Year's Eve 2008 going into 2009, and spent it with 20,000 other fellow revelers at their equivalent of the Superdome, sort of in their Olympic site, listening to Max Rabe and 20,000 crazy Germans singing My Little Green Cactus. And that's going to be on the program with Madeline Easton. Who,
No, I've interviewed her before, yes.
She's a great girl. We've been friends since we were 12 years old. We went to the Conservatorium High School together. And I'm thrilled to be doing these concerts with her again. We've just performed this program at the Hydro Majestic.
Which was a sellout.
Which was a sellout, which is great. Second year in a row that we've sold out there with this Night in Vienna. This is the second time we're doing it at the Art Gallery in Mossman as well.
Yeah, Mossman Art Gallery. So that's where it's going to be Friday next week, is that right?
That's right. So Friday evening, 7:30.
7:30, right.
What I would refer to as a mid-brow concert. It's chamber arrangements of popular pieces, so things like Tritch Tratch Polka and the things that you might see on a New Year's Eve concert in Vienna.
Should we all wear our long clothes then, our long dresses?
You should wear whatever you feel comfortable with. There'll be a glass of wine at the door when you arrive. And
after that, nobody cares what you're wearing.
Exactly. No, you make me cough. And the aim is for everyone to come along and have a great time reveling in all sorts of different kind of music.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that sounds really wonderful. So Mossman Art Gallery, Friday next week at 7:30, and there's a double pass to give away. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yay. So if you ring us here at 9439 4777 and leave your name and your phone number at reception, say you're interested to hear the concert A Night in Vienna with Bradley Cooper, and we'll be doing the draw just after 9 o'clock, and the receptionist will ring the winner. And if you missed out, hey, you can still get along there. There's still a few seats left, isn't there?
Yes, and all listeners can, if they book online through Try Booking, they can use the code Salzburg. Salzburg.
SALTZBU, is it? BURG?
BURG, yeah. Then you'll get a 10% off your ticket price as well.
Ah, that's very handy. So keep an eye out for that. If you don't know that or you don't remember it, you can also leave a message at reception and say you're interested, and they'll be able to get you back the details.
Yes, we'll think Sound of Music and where that's...
Salzburg.
Yes.
Is the code, the secret code.
Yes, I'm not so secret now to your listeners.
It's just between us though, right?
Exactly.
That's it, for a 10% discount. That's wonderful. Thank you so much for coming in, Bradley. It's been
You're
lovely
welcome.
chatting with you. Looking forward to that concert. I'm going to come along as well.
Oh, brilliant.
All righty. Thanks so much.
Thank you.